You're gonna need to give me access to the share screen thing.
How do I do that? You see here.
You should have,
there is an UV security. No.
Next to share screen, you're gonna have
multiple advanced share options. Who can share all participants?
Are you gonna cut this out of the recording? Oh, that looks shiny.
Yeah, so Bain gave us basically dumped everything that he was working on, right? And a lot of it is OMF format, because that's what he was using to digest it. Like this is great. I just don't have the readers, and I wanted to get going pretty quickly, so I just went back to the original Forge files, which right now it's just basically what I got was just points, right? So it was just points representing surfaces that where they came up at the end with that project. So like a topography, some faults in there, and so I just converted them to surfaces so that I can start working with. So I need to move you guys out of the way. Yeah, just
so these are geological, or
yeah, they're contacts. They're basically what they identify to be some important units. So you have a granitoid, I think, in there, and some volcanics. And the actual like Forge case study is the blue outline. So they were hoping to be, to develop the geothermal project and within that zone here. But then they try to model the whole system, right? So what I'll be able to try to do with GenPy this week is basically, where are the drill holes on this thing? Is to basically model the drill holes, right? So I would like to be able to rebuild those surfaces, but instead of doing it by hand, be able to go straight from borehole to surfaces, because these guys were built by Jeff Witter using a software called Rhino, and I think he worked really hard to do it. Actually, he published his own project. So this is like the model that he built with using like a gravity inversion, right? Using SimPeg. So this is if we can try to replicate roughly his interpretation, more or less automated with GenPy, then that would be great.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So at least now I'm in a spot where I can I have drill holes right in 3D space, and I can see how GenPy can bring me basically to these guys. If I can regenerate these guys more or less.
Great.
And then after this, we can do the inversion. Rerun the gravity on the GenPy model, and then yeah, hopefully we get a result. So that's what I managed to do today, or I guess yesterday.
So SimPeg can take something from GenPy and then create the model from that, or?
Well, I think if we can get GenPy to go from either surfaces or points and give us a 3D block, like a representation of a discretized geology, then after this, it's straightforward to do inversions or to do forward models, forward simulations or whatnot. So it's basically going from a vector property to something that is like a block model.
Yeah, that is what I already did, right? I modeled something with GenPy from folds, no, from surfaces and some folds, and then exported to discretize, and we could load it in GenPy. So once you get it into GenPy, then it should really be smooth and straightforward.
And so how did you generate your initial services? Because that's to me, that's kind of the bottleneck right now that everybody's struggling with, is actually generate like a watertight surface model. This is kind of the hardest part.
That's where Miguel has to help you, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just used one of their examples and then it worked very smooth, right? Because it was
right.
But once you have that, then with their Theano, it will just calculate, interpolate the point at every location you need. So you just give in the HX, HY, HZ for the discretized mesh, and then it spits you out the value at each point. So
who's inside, and what's outside of each unit. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, if we can do that part. Actually, if we can do both, right? First, start at the surfaces like you did. That's kind of like the end product. But then even before that, how can you easily generate surfaces, warp them a little, and then just from well intersects. That's the hardest part to me, right? It always requires like 3D softwares to do this stuff. So if you can have a quick quick path through them.
Yeah, I think so. The GeoSci tutorial is on Tuesday as well. Is that correct? In the morning. So I guess then that's a good point once you're awake on Tuesday to watch that. And then I think Miguel will have much more time afterwards if you bother him. Hey. He will be more responsible after Tuesday when he's having that through.
Yeah.
So
I'll spend Monday like installing it and try to run through their through the examples, and then hopefully can have a more constructive conversation.
For me, getting it installed and doing the simple example yesterday actually was surprisingly straightforward. I was expecting to have more trouble, but it more or less, Conda installed GeoSci, and that was in a pip install.
Yeah.
They installed.
Okay.
They've got a couple of install instructions. Pip in the Conda install or something, and then pip install GeoSci, and the example that they gave worked no problem.
Yeah,
so
I think it came a long way.
That, to be honest.
I remember a year ago, he gave a tutorial at Transform2020 just so everybody could install it, and it was still painful because there are a lot of dependencies, right, with Theano and all those things. But within the last year, I think it got really surprisingly easy, and it mostly works. Pip install GeoSci. You're good to go. So, yeah.
And the examples, you got them from source, from Git, or from their side, they have like a download button on their side or something? What's the easiest?
Good question. I think I got them from the docs.
The one that
gallery. Oh, yeah, Martin.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a getting started with GeoSci tutorial thing through create 2 points and things. All it really does is build up 3 or 4 layers and put a fold, but might be enough to get you going. And then you can poke Miguel after that and sort of need to do something more to this. But to get a simple model in is pretty simple. Follow that particular one.
That's great.
I'll drop a link in the Slack channel as well for the tutorial that I used.
Could you find something for the OMF, Lindsay?
Yeah, so I dropped a link in the chat for their contributing guide. So at least to me, in spirit, it looks like they are trying to run this as an open project. But I don't know if if there's been examples of that yet, because it's still sort of a new project for the community. Yeah, so I don't have a good sense of sort of like, does what's written match what the process will look like. But at least in spirit, that's a good check mark that it seems like they want a community.
And Franklin would know, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get him on next weekend or something for a call.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I guess like we're looking at sort of doing more than just raising issues and bug fixes. Is this really is kind of fundamentally like, are there structural things that change? So.
Yeah, I just thought now that it looks like it's around a small group now. If you want to do the same pre-hack next Friday, and check if Franklin will have time Friday morning. What was that? Your time? Like 9-10 o'clock, something like this.
I have a fairly full Friday, unfortunately, but I also don't think this needs to bottleneck on me. Let me see.
Because if we would go down that road, it would be good if we get those things cleared out.
Yeah.
From the start.
Yeah. I could do like 9 a.m. Mountain, which is 8 a.m. Pacific. But unfortunately not much later than that. But if that doesn't work for folks, it's also, I can watch the recording and chime in on Saturday too.
Yeah.
Or
well, I will reach out to him. I mean, yeah, if he can do it or not.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most critical person to have looped in.
Cool. Hi, Brian.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How was your day?
Frustrating. Made more progress yesterday than today. Yeah, Sundays are a bit hectic because I thought, I'll just push things off till Sunday, like going out to the shop and getting, stuff you need for the week. And so I thought, I better go do that. And I'd come back, I've got 20 minutes, and then I wouldn't have 20 minutes. I'd have to go off and do something else. So, yeah, I mean, I made a little bit of progress, but not quite where I want to be yet. But I think I'll be messing around with it throughout the week. So next weekend, hopefully I'll have something that's a bit more concrete, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so is then the plan still like next Saturday to do some whiteboard head banging on how it should look like? Probably early Saturday for you guys, and I don't know, 8 to 9-ish a start done. What do you think?
I can probably start earlier to make sure that we overlap longer. When are you guys? What time are you guys starting usually? Like you start at 9.
The kickoff is at 9. I think the official, which is midnight at yours, I think.
Right. Yeah. So worst case, I could probably just chime in for an hour or two and then reconvene later in the day for you.
Well, let me check with Miguel and Bain as well. To see that we have kind of a critical mass, right? And Franklin. So I'll reach out to those guys. That's up for me. I basically tried to get my example with GemPy running, and it doesn't want with PyMC something. Now we have a Travis build that builds all the GemPy gallery, but it only succeeds the second time you run it. So it fails on Travis, you rebuild, and it goes smooth. Then you commit again, and it fails, and you just click on rebuild, and it goes smooth. I wonder if it's running out of time, but it caches the results. So 2 times running is enough. Because
it's totally possible.
They have quite a lot of examples, and I could find that it's 7.5 gigs memory, but I couldn't find a hard number on how long it can run for a free project. I don't know.
It can run for 50 minutes on Travis. 50? So you'll time out at 50.
Yeah. Okay.
What we did in Simpeg, because our examples take like hours, because some of them are actually reasonably big simulations or inversions, is one of us runs it locally, checks everything works, and then we upload a tar file to Google.
Yeah.
And then Travis pulls that. And then what's actually not too bad about that is if somebody commits a new example or changes the example, Sphinx is smart enough to recognize like this has changed. Yeah. And so we'll do the diff against that and we'll rerun that one. But it does, like, it has the drawback that we're not actually, and we're relying on, one person to have tested the examples with each new release.
You're not sure that a commit will break an example. That's kind of you can't do everything. I also, the one from the 3D code, I don't have them just because of memory.
Yeah.
because I guess that's the same for you. It's not just time; it's also memory, right?
Yeah.
7.5 gigs is not that big in the end.
Yeah.
To run a 3D model. Cool, but I think he's just recently got the whole Sphinx gallery going, so I don't think he will be too thrilled to move everything somewhere else again. Because it takes time, right?
Yeah.
But then if it does work, you could also, what I thought, he could change it to an allowed failure and only rerun it when he really needs the docs. So it will be red every time, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Anything else for this weekend?
On my job, you did a pretty good job at the meeting explaining what we're doing. It's nice and clear.
It's sort of difficult to say what we actually do, right? So I just have to go to the side of everything that
Very broad.
seismic does.
We're
We are
working.
the others.
We're working.
Yeah. Cool. So we
Stuff is
see us
happening.
all next weekend.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Have a
excellent.
good week, guys.
Have a good time, eh?
Very well.
Yeah, cheers.